Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Schenkel. This is Grade 8, Module 4, Lesson 21. Let's get started. Okay, we have to write an equation for the line on the graph, line L. And we've got a little problem here because in the past we've been able to identify the y-intercept, but this time the y-intercept doesn't cross at an intersection point, so I don't know what that is. It could be 2.5, maybe a little more than that, 2 3/5. Hard to really say. So we need another way to go about finding this equation of the line, and luckily we can use the slope formula to help us do that. So I'm going to start with the slope formula. Slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm just going to manipulate this formula a little bit by multiplying by x2 minus x1. And if I do that, this is an x. If I do that and balance the equation, I'm also multiplying by x2 minus x1 over here on the left side. We get the x2 minus x1 to go away, so we no longer have a denominator. And we get this. M times x2 minus x1 is equal to y2 minus y1. And notice that this equation doesn't have a y-intercept. There's no b. And that's good for us because we don't know what b is anyway. So the equation turns out to be m times x, a value of x that we don't know, minus our x1 is equal to y minus our y1, so our y value. And if we use this equation, then all we need is a point, an xy value, an ordered pair, and the slope. So this is called the point slope formula, or point slope form of a line. Point slope form of the line. And all we need is a point and a slope. So let's do that. Let's start with a couple of points that we can identify. This is -2, +2. And then we have another one up here. This one is 5, 4. 5, 4. Okay, so all I need to do is calculate slope. Well, I can do that on the graph, or I could use the slope formula here. But since we have the graph, I'll just count up to, and then right, that's going to be 7. So a +7. So my slope is, I'm going to put it down here, slope is 2/7. And then we just need a point. So it doesn't matter which one we choose. It's any point on a line will help us to write this. I'll use this one. And then we're going to use our point slope form of a line. The slope is 2/7 times x minus our x is a -2, so that's a -2, is equal to y minus our y is a +2, so that's 2. And then we can simplify this a little bit. 2/7 times x, and a -2 is a +2, is equal to y minus 2. And that is the point slope equation for this line. All right, so even though we didn't know the y-intercept, we can still write an equation for the line using the point slope form. Just so you can see, I can also I can change this into slope-intercept form. It's not necessary to do, but we could do it just so you can see that we could identify the y-intercept here. I would just distribute the 2/7. So this is, I'm going to write it over here, this is 2/7 x plus 2/7 times 2 is 4/7. And that's equal to y minus 2. And I'm going to change my 2 into 14/7 so that I can eliminate that. And then if I isolate the y by adding 14/7 to the right side and then add 14/7 to the left side, that gives me 2/7 x plus 18/7 is equal to y. And that's slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And that means our y-intercept is at 18/7. That would be 2 4/7, which would put us right where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, not necessary to change it to slope-intercept form. We can leave it in our point-slope form right here, and that is a good equation. All right, so lots of work there. Let's try number 2, example number 2. Well, now I know I can just use my point-slope form, m times x minus x1 is equal to y minus y1. And all I need here is a point and the slope. So let's find out what those are. I've got a point that crosses at a couple of intersections. Excuse me. This point is -1, +4. And then I see another one down here. This is the point 4, 1. So 4, 1. And in order to calculate the slope, I would go down 3. And I would go right 5. So my slope is a -3/5. -3/5 slope. And then I just choose a point. Doesn't matter which one. Let's use this one. Okay, so substituting into my point-slope form, I get a -3/5, that's my slope, times x minus my x is a 4, right here, equals y minus my y is a 1. And there it is. Point-slope form of that line, that's the equation. Example 3, again, I just need to find slope and a couple of points. So my first point here would be the point 12, 2, 12 right, 2 up. And my second point would be 13, and we're going up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13, 7. So there's my points. I can calculate the slope by going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a +5. And then right 1. So my slope is a 5. Up 5, right 1. Slope 5. And then I just use a point. Doesn't matter which one. Let's see. Let's use this one this time. So I have m times the quantity x minus rx is a 13, okay, is equal to y minus ry is a 7. Point slope form, that's the equation. Oh, I didn't replace my slope, so let's do that. Slope is 5. 5 times the quantity x minus 13 is equal to y minus 7 is the equation for this line. Example 4. Well, this time I could write an equation using slope-intercept form because I can clearly see the y-intercept. So let's do both on this one. First of all, I need the slope. That's up 1 and right 3. Up 1, right 3. So this is a slope of 1/3, and I see my y-intercept is at 0. So I can just write the slope-intercept form, y equals 1/3 times x plus 0. So y equals 1/3 x is the equation. If I used point slope form, it would be 1/3 times the quantity x minus, well, I could use 0, 0, because that's one of my points, the origin. X minus 0 is equal to y minus, my y value would also be 0. So this becomes, in essence, I could just say 1/3 x, because the 0 is irrelevant, is equal to y, because the minus 0 is irrelevant, and we get the same equation. Right? A couple more exercises to try this out. Let's see, I've got a point here. That is the point -1, -3. And I have another point here. That is the point 2, -2. 2, -2. Okay? Slope is up 1, right 3. So my slope is, the slope is 1/3. Point slope form, 1/3 times the quantity x minus our x. Well, let's use this point this time. Our x is a -1, so that's a -1 is equal to y minus our y is a -3, so that's a -3. And then we can clean this up. 1/3 is equal to x plus 1 is equal to y plus 3. And there it is, point slope form. Number 2, well, I've got a point here. That is the point -8, +6, -8, +6. And I see another one right here. That is the point -3, +7. So -3, +7. And I just need the slope, which is up 1, and right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right 5. And then that means that my slope is 1/5. And I can write my point slope form. 1/5 times x minus our x. Let's use this one. Our x is a -3. That's going to make this a +3. Is equal to y minus our 7, or our y is a 7, and that is point slope form. Determine the equation of the line that goes through the points -4, 5 and 2, 3. Well, I can still use point slope form. The only difference here is I'm going to have to calculate my slope. I can't just count it on a graph, so I'm going to have to calculate my slope. So I remember slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm just going to label these. Let's call this my x1. This will be my y1. Here's my x2. And this will be my y2. Okay, and then I'm just going to substitute. So y2 is a 3 minus y1, that's a 5, over x2, that's a 2, minus x1 is a -4, making this a +4. And then when we simplify, we get a -2 over 6. -2/6, or if I simplify again, -1/3. So now I have slope, and then I just need to use one of those points. Let's use this one. Slope, which is, we know that, it's -1/3, times x minus our x is a -4, so that makes this +4, is equal to y minus our y is a 5. And there we go, -1/3 times quantity x plus 4 equals y minus 5. That is the point slope equation for that line. Number 4, write the equation for the line shown in the figure. So back to the graphs. Here's a point that is -6, -2. And here's a point, that is the point -7, +2. Okay, so slope is up 4, left 1. That's a negative 1. So it's 4 over negative 1, making it a negative 4. So slope is a negative 4. And then I can write the equation, negative 4 times x minus our x. We'll use this one. Our x is a negative 6, so that makes this positive 6, is equal to y minus our y is a negative 2, which makes this a positive 2. Point slope equation of that line. And last one today, a line that goes through the point 8,3 and has a slope of 4. Beautiful. Can't get any easier. Slope is, times x minus our x is an 8 is equal to y minus our y is a 3. Done deal. There it is. That's lesson 21. I hope that helps.